They found her just across the lawn, lying face down in the dew-soaked grass. The streetlights flickered, casting long, trembling shadows across her body. Her red hair spread out like a halo, but her breathing was gone. Blood had seeped into the ground beneath her. Neighbors gasped. Someone had murdered their neighbor, someone they all knew. The chilling case of the killer next door had come alive. As sirens wailed in the distance, Emma Carson, she lived 2 houses down, stood frozen at her window. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it would burst. Who could do such a thing? She had talked to the victim, Laura Mitchell, just the night before. They shared a wave. The shock tore through the quiet neighborhood. The police tape went up. Cameras flashed. Questions raced. Who did this? Why? Was it someone close by? And then, just as Emma looked toward the house right next to Laura's, she saw a dark figure slip into the side gate. Her eyes strained in the darkness. Could it have been the killer next door? She gasped, and the figure looked back. That moment cut off as abruptly as it had come. Emma ran away from the window, heart racing, but the memory of the figure's eyes, cold, sharp, haunted her. She couldn't shake the fear. The killer next door might just be someone she passes every day, someone she trusts. Now I will tell you how all of this led to that terrible instant. Laura Mitchell had moved into the peaceful suburb of Cedar Hills in Springfield, Oregon 2 years ago. She was quiet, kept to herself, but was friendly when she saw neighbors. She liked reading in her yard, watering her flowers early in the morning, waving at kids walking to school. Emma had met her once when walking her dog. Laura smiled kindly and asked how Emma's day was. The neighborhood was calm. The houses were close, lawns neat, trees shading sidewalks. People greeted one another. Kids played with chalk. Mothers chatted. Nothing seemed wrong. Then strange things started happening. Laura would sometimes not pick up her mail for days. Lights flickered at her house at odd times. Once, Emma heard a muffled shout late at night, but when she rushed to peer over, she saw nothing. She assumed maybe a TV or dream. Meanwhile, Emma's younger brother, Justin, said he had seen the neighbor next door, Mr. Henry Wade, walking by Laura's yard late at night. Mr. Wade was always quiet, never smiled much. People called him reclusive. No one knew much about his past. He kept his curtains drawn. He rarely talked. But Justin claimed one night he saw Mr. Wade dragging a long bag across his lawn toward Laura's. Emma dismissed it. Kids imagine things. But the seed of fear was planted. Then little things piled up. Laura posted in a neighborhood group, "Someone's been messing with my plants. Pots knocked over, garden rake gone." Others replied, "Maybe animals. Mischief. Kids." But Laura seemed uneasy. Emma noticed Laura sometimes looked over her shoulder, glanced at windows. She seemed tired, worried. One evening, Emma heard knocking on her door around 11 p.m. It was Laura. She said in a whisper, "Emma, can I hide in your house for a short while?" Emma's eyes widened. "Why?" Laura hesitated. "I think someone is watching me from next door. I heard him outside talking on a strange voice recorder." Emma felt a chill. She invited Laura inside. Laura stayed that night on Emma's couch. The next day, Laura's house was silent. No sign of movement. Emma went over to check, but saw police cars. The front door was open. Crime scene tape. Her heart dropped. She learned that Laura had been found murdered in her yard. Emma hurried across the lawn. The neighbors gathered. The darkness of that moment is what I told you. Seeing a figure slip past the gate, suspecting that the killer was the person living next door, Mr. Wade. Now everything led to that instant of fear. The shocking moment. What will Emma do next? Who is that figure? We are left with a cliffhanger. Was Mr. Wade the killer, or someone else hiding in the night? Emma could barely sleep that night. Every creak of the floor, every sound of the wind brushing the trees outside, made her heart jump. The image of the dark figure slipping through the gate replayed in her mind over and over again. She wanted to believe she had imagined it, but deep down, she knew she hadn't. The next morning, the whole street buzzed with police activity. Yellow tape still surrounded Laura's house, and officers went door to door asking questions. Detective James Holloway, a tall man with tired eyes, knocked on Emma's door. "Miss Carson," he said, flashing his badge. "We're investigating the incident next door. Did you notice anything unusual last night?" Emma hesitated. Should she tell him about the figure she saw? What if she was wrong? What if it brought trouble her way? But then she remembered Laura's terrified face from the night she came asking for shelter. I think I saw someone," Emma said softly. "A man. He went through the side gate right after they found her." The detective's expression sharpened. "Can you describe him?" "Tall, maybe 6 feet. Dark jacket. I couldn't see his face. It was too dark." Detective Holloway scribbled in his notebook. "Thank you, Miss Carson. That helps." He paused for a second. "Do you know your neighbor, Mr. Wade?" Emma's breath caught. "Henry Wade? The man next door?" "A little. He keeps to himself." The detective nodded. "We'll be speaking with him too." After he left, Emma stood by the window, watching as 2 officers crossed into Mr. Wade's yard. The man himself soon appeared, gray-haired, slim, with glasses and a blank expression. He spoke calmly to the officers, even smiled once. Then, shockingly, they walked away without arresting him. "How could they just leave?" Emma whispered. As the day went by, neighbors whispered theories. It must have been a stranger passing through. No, she had a stalker. I heard she was dating someone in secret. The rumors spread fast, but Emma's gut told her the truth was much closer, maybe too close. That night, she sat on her porch trying to calm herself. The cicadas chirped, the air felt heavy. Then she noticed a flicker from Mr. Wade's basement window, a small light turning on and off. Then again, it repeated, like a signal. Her curiosity got the better of her. She tiptoed closer, crouching near the fence. Peering through the crack, she froze. Inside the basement, she saw Mr. Wade kneeling in front of a wooden table. On it were photographs, lots of them, pinned up with tape. And right there, in the middle, was Laura's face. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She stumbled backward, heart hammering so hard she could barely breathe. She had to tell someone, Detective Holloway, anyone. She turned and ran inside, slamming the door behind her. She called the police immediately. "Officer, it's Emma Carson from Cedar Hills. You need to come. I just saw something in my neighbor's basement. It's about Laura Mitchell." The operator assured her they'd send someone, but as she hung up, she glanced out the window and saw Mr. Wade standing at the end of her driveway. He wasn't moving, just staring. Her body turned cold. Then he raised his hand and slowly waved. Emma backed away, her phone trembling in her hand. Moments later, the porch light flickered and went out. The whole street plunged into silence. She turned to lock her front door, but before she could reach it, a loud knock echoed from the back door. Emma froze. Her heart pounded in her chest as another knock came, louder this time. Was it the police or the killer next door? Emma's breath came in short, shaky bursts. The knocks grew loud. Her 3 slow thuds that echoed through the walls. She stood frozen in her kitchen, her trembling hand still clutching her phone. "Who's there?" she whispered, barely able to make a sound. No answer. Then another knock, harder this time. Her mind screamed at her to move. She crept to the counter, grabbed the biggest kitchen knife she could find, and dialed 911 again. Her fingers slipped on the screen as she whispered, "Please, please, someone's trying to get into my house." The dispatcher's calm voice replied, "Stay where you are, ma'am. Officers are already on their way." But Emma wasn't sure she'd last that long. She peeked toward the back door. The porch light was out, but the moonlight spilled faintly through the window. A shadow moved across the curtain, slowly, carefully, as if whoever was out there knew she was watching. Then suddenly, the shadow vanished. Silence. Her phone line was still open. "He's gone," Emma whispered. "I don't see him anymore." But just as she turned to move, a face appeared in the window, pale, staring straight at her. Emma screamed and dropped the phone. The knife nearly slipped from her hand. She backed away as the figure outside pressed his hand to the glass. It was Henry Wade. "Emma," his muffled voice said through the glass. "Open the door. I need to talk to you." She shook her head violently. "Stay away from me." His face darkened. "You called them, didn't you?" "I know what you did," she cried. "I saw the pictures in your basement." His expression changed, no longer calm, but twisted with something darker. "You shouldn't have looked, Emma. You weren't supposed to see that." Before she could react, he swung something heavy at the window. The glass shattered, spraying across the kitchen floor. Emma screamed and ran for the front door, her bare feet slipping on the tiles. Behind her, she heard him crawling through the broken window. She bolted to the living room, threw open the front door, and stumbled straight into Detective Holloway. "Emma, are you okay?" he shouted, pulling her aside. Two police officers rushed past him toward the back. "He's in there," Emma cried, shaking. "Henry Wade, he tried to break in." The officers stormed through the kitchen, shouting commands. Moments later, there was the sound of a struggle, a crash, and then silence. Detective Holloway guided Emma outside to the curb, where flashing red and blue lights filled the night. Neighbors peeked from their porches, whispering in fear. After what felt like forever, one officer emerged, handcuffs in hand, and Henry Wade between them. His face was pale, eyes hollow. He didn't resist. As they led him past Emma, he turned his head slightly and said in a calm, chilling voice, "You were next." Emma froze, her breath catching in her throat. The detective quickly stepped in front of her. "Don't listen to him," he said firmly. "We've got him now." Later, the truth came out. Police searched Wade's basement and found what Emma had seen: dozens of photographs, recordings, and detailed notes about several neighbors. Laura Mitchell had been the first one to discover his secret obsession with watching people in their homes through hidden cameras he'd installed years ago while posing as a handyman. When Laura confronted him, he silenced her forever. For months, he had been living among them, mowing his lawn, waving hello, pretending to be normal, all while hiding a dark, twisted secret. The story made national headlines: "The killer next door in Cedar Hills." Emma moved away soon after, unable to sleep in that house again. But sometimes, when she closed her eyes, she could still see him standing in the moonlight, his face pressed to the glass, whispering her name. And though he was locked away, Emma could never shake the feeling that someone else, somewhere, might be watching her too.